It's the 5th year since the time traveler took over my body, and I woke up. I watched the time traveler make my mother die of anger, humiliate my brother, and make my beloved stepfather anxious, leading to his death in a car accident. I watched the time traveler destroy my family, make me drift between different men, and laugh as they ruined everything I had. I watched the time traveler provoke and insult the teacher I respected, abandon the education I had worked so hard for, and steal all the family's money to squander in various pleasure places. I watched the time traveler push the friend who trusted me into the abyss. She was abused by a group of aristocratic young men and chose to commit suicide, looking at me for the last time. Something I will never forget. During these 5 chaotic years, I was powerless, heartbroken with hatred, overwhelmed with guilt, and my soul ached every moment, trembling constantly. But I could only watch helplessly as she destroyed all the beautiful things in my life. Finally, the time traveler said with a smile, "I've had enough of this world, where to next?" Until this moment, I felt my body relax. I thought to myself, "You can't go anywhere." I chose to die with her, and in her terrified scream, 2 souls were destroyed together. Yet, when I woke up, I was back to the first year she had just arrived. When I opened my eyes, I felt a severe headache, and everything around me was hazy. Wendy, the woman in front of me, looked gentle and concerned as she touched my forehead. "Are you feeling better now?" I opened my mouth, and suddenly tears fell down. Mom, my mom, who I could not reach even though she was right in front of me, and I watched her die in front of my eyes. "You also saw it. This is my ability. If you want to change fate, regain your body, then do as I say." Punish the time traveler. 3 days ago, this thing from nowhere came to me. I don't know if this is a second chance given by heaven, but I know that for revenge, for regaining what I lost, and for protecting my family and friends, I am willing to give everything. I said, "Okay." Although I've been awake for several days, I've only just regained control of my body. I can't control myself well, and I sometimes faint or lose consciousness. I also can't control my emotions. This is the side effect of a time traveler having been here. I am fully aware of that. "Wendy, you've been working too hard lately. Take some rest." A man with a gentle face stood beside me, showing concern. "I've already taken care of the arrangements. You'll be able to go to YH college next week." This is my stepfather Philip, a gentle and refined businessman. I grew up in a poor family. My father passed away when I was young, and my mother raised me alone. I was obedient and responsible, studied hard, and worked diligently, always ranking at the top of my class. When I was 16, my mother remarried, and my stepfather's wife had already passed away. He also had a son who was a bit older than me, which is my older brother, Harry. My stepfather's family had a good financial situation, and he treated me as his own son. My brother, Harry, was quiet and not very talkative, but he was very kind to me. Our family was harmonious, and my mother's smile became more frequent day by day. I originally thought this was the beginning of a bright future, but I didn't realize it was the source of all the evil. A time traveler came. She arrived just a few days before my stepfather was going to move in with my brother. The time traveler woke up and started shouting, insisting that he shouldn't be allowed Harry to stay, and even slandered him, saying he had been bullying him behind his back. My mom believed half of it, because I never lied. The stepfather believed my brother, but was caught between us, and finally had no choice but to let my brother rent a house alone. And he also sometimes stayed with my brother. A harmonious family now had a crack, but this was just the beginning. My stepfather was a businessman, and the family had a good condition, so he sent my brother to a prestigious school, in order to send him abroad in the future. After knowing this, the time traveler wouldn't let up, wanting to give up his city key school, and insisted on also going to that school. The stepfather had no choice but to send the time traveler there. And then there, my brother's nightmare began. My nightmare also began. I closed my eyes, not wanting to recall those repulsive memories anymore, and said quietly, "Uncle, it's okay. It's my fault. It's my mistake. Even if I were to be cut into 1,000 pieces, I could not make up for the harm I did to them in my past life." When I woke up, the time traveler had already taken over my body for 2 months, and my brother had moved out. The rift had already formed. I seemed to have changed in the eyes of others, and although my mother was confused, she still loved me as before, thinking that I was affected by her remarriage. I seem to be bound by some rules, and I can't reveal the truth, but it's okay. Things aren't at their worst yet, and I can still fix them. The thing inside me that calls itself the supervisor spoke again. I used a firewall to drive her out, but she hasn't left this world. I can sense her. She is now in that college. Removing her from this world is your task. It seems to hate the time traveler, which is why it helped me return to 5 years ago. I will find the time traveler without needing to say anything. I want her to experience all the pain I have gone through, to drive her out of my world, crush her arrogance, and make her atone for the suffering my family endured in my past life. The doorbell rang. My mother's face showed a subtle change, and my stepfather hurried to open the door. I heard a hushed conversation and guessed who was standing at the door. It was my older brother. I have been fainting frequently lately, losing consciousness, and my family took me to the hospital, but nothing was found. It is already night, and none of us have eaten today, so my brother came to bring me medicine and food. In that moment, a great force supported me as I stood up. My mother hadn't even had time to stop me when I quickly walked to the door. He was a tall, thin young man with clear, handsome features, a calm expression, and looked as if he had traveled a long way. With some sweat on his forehead, he seemed to have turned to leave, but suddenly met my eyes and couldn't help frowning. My nose tingled, and the tears I had just stopped from falling came down again. His eyes, which had shown no expression, suddenly filled with confusion. He took a step forward, but then stopped midway, and stood in silence looking at me. Stepfather opened his mouth, looking as if he didn't know what to say. Mother also looked puzzled and confused. Wendy, finally, I took a step forward and, without hesitation, hugged my brother. Mother and stepfather had known each other for 3 years. Half a year ago, they got married, bought a house, and planned to live together after it was renovated. My brother and I have no blood relation. When mother and stepfather were getting to know each other, they didn't usually bring us along. Although I had known him for 3 years, we didn't communicate much, and our relationship wasn't particularly close. It was only in the past 6 months, when we were about to live together, that we started to interact more. My brother doesn't like to talk much. He likes reading books, and he's always calm, as if he has no extra emotions. I still remember the day my stepfather brought him to meet me, and he patted his head and said, "Harry, Wendy is younger than you. She will be your sister from now on. You should take good care of her." I hid behind my mother, curiously looking at him, and smiled at him in a friendly yet shy way. The young boy looked at me calmly, then nodded. I thought he didn't smile, that he didn't like me. At that time, I didn't know that the promise of taking care of me would become his lifelong commitment. During those terrible 5 years, I watched the time traveler insult him, defame him, tease him, mock him, isolate him, and torment him at college, and finally throw him away like garbage. After my stepfather and mother passed away, my brother was taken away by a group of debt collectors and disappeared without a trace. I didn't understand why the time traveler treated him that way. I also didn't understand why, even after that, my brother showed up in the 3rd year when the time traveler fell ill at school. He gave me fever medicine, brought me hot water, bought me food, took care of me until I fell asleep, and then left quietly. It was the only time, because this body had a fever, I broke through the constraints of a time traveler. My tears fell one by one, soaking the pillowcase. I opened my mouth but couldn't make a sound. I want to say, "I'm not Wendy." I want to say, "Brother, take uncle and mom away." I want to say, but I could only keep my eyes open, staring at that darkness that seemed never to fade. I cried so sadly. Harry's body suddenly stiffened. He opened his arms, took a step back, leaned against the door, and lightly supported my shoulders, looking like he wanted to push me away, but didn't dare to exert any force. I had never made such an intimate move toward my brother before, and for a moment, everyone was stunned. This child, why is he crying like this again? Mom saw me with tears streaming down my face and immediately panicked, taking a tissue from the side. "What's wrong? What's wrong?" The stepfather also asked. "Did you suffer some injustice? Why didn't you tell us?" I had already prepared an excuse, lowering my head, my voice very soft. "I dreamed that you were living alone outside and encountered danger. I was very worried but couldn't do anything. So I woke up in fear." Mom was stunned, but the stepfather had already relaxed, speaking gently to comfort me. "It's okay, Harry is right here. He's a boy. He's not so easily in danger." No, my fingers curled up, and I looked up. "Brother, it was my fault before. I didn't want a new person to come into the family, so I kept saying you were bullying me. It was all a lie, just my selfish excuse. I said, I know I was wrong, I'm sorry, brother. Can you move back home? I think I must look really pitiful right now, shaken. With puffy eyes, my voice full of sorrow, completely different from my usual appearance, my brother paused, his dark eyes quietly staring at me, clean and gentle, without any extra emotion. He awkwardly raised his hand and gently touched my hair. Dreams are all fake, don't be afraid, just those words. And my tears fell again. No one knows. That 5-year nightmare was real. But this time, I won't let it become real again. YH Academy is a typical elite school. But it has rich educational resources and is among the best in the entire L City. When it comes to the college entrance exam pass rate, YH is slightly behind the first high school, but if you add in special admissions such as studying abroad, recommendation, special talents, and competitions, YH is far ahead of the first high school. My only plan in the past was to take the college entrance exam and get into a good university. Besides, YH is well known for its expensive tuition. So I never considered going to any other school besides the first high school, but that doesn't mean YH is a dead end. Wendy, my stepfather said while driving me and my brother to school, carefully choosing his words, YH has a class placement test 1 month after enrollment, but you don't need to feel too much pressure. Learning is a step-by-step process. I nodded and said softly, I know, thank you, uncle. YH has arrived. I looked at this European-style dome gate. The lush trees and the red brick teaching buildings hidden among them, the wooden bridge I had crossed countless times and the clear stream flowing gently, my gaze showed no change. My brother noticed I was distracted. What's wrong? Nothing. I snapped out of it and smiled back at him. I just think it's really beautiful here. YH has very few students, a total of 140, only 3 classes, Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3, and students are randomly assigned when they enroll. But after the class placement test, the number of classes increases, from A to E, based on rankings from high to low. At the SAM-E time, YH has a very harsh system. Starting from the first class placement exam, there is a test every month, and students at the bottom of the ranking are moved to lower classes. My brother was in Class 1, so my stepfather also sent me to Class 1, the administrative office, the logistics department, the office. Every place is very familiar to me. From registration to getting books and school uniforms, and finally finding my homeroom teacher, I was very comfortable with it all. Wendy is it? My homeroom teacher, Lily, was a rather strict female teacher. When she saw me, her expression didn't change much. She looked at her watch and said, there's 5 minutes left before class ends. I'll take you to introduce yourself in the class. YH's classroom is very spacious and clean. When I walked in, I hesitated for a moment. Then my eyes fell on the familiar faces below me, and I lowered my head, keeping a calm expression. Knock knock. When I was writing my name on the blackboard, I suddenly heard a very sweet voice from the door. Teacher, I'm also a new student today. I wrote, Wendy, and the last stroke suddenly flew out, but I seemed not to notice, just wiping away the extra strokes. I lowered my eyes, as if I found a small part of the blackboard unclean. So I wiped it again and again, faster and faster. Breathing heavily, nervously rubbing the chalk dust on my fingertips, when I turned around at last, my expression had become gentle and clean, my hands behind my back, with a clear smile. Hello, my name is Wendy. Then I looked at the girl at the door. Her face was completely unfamiliar, yet it burned into my eyes, making my heart tremble and causing a sharp, throbbing pain. Is that her? That's her, isn't it? Do you know why the transgressor would so cruelly torment your relatives and your friends? From the moment she chose your body, the fortune between you and her would shift. The more you suffer, the more she would enjoy it. The worse your loved ones live, the better she would live. Who is she? Why did she choose me, a traveler from a higher dimension, from a powerful family? Just coming here for fun, she chose you by chance, random, high-level, passenger, play, a game by a big shot. But the dice of fate are enough to crush an ordinary person like me who struggles to survive. I pushed her out of your body. Although she doesn't know the reason, she definitely won't be satisfied. She has chosen you, and there's no way to change the selection. So this time, she will come back with her own body. This is your only chance. What should I do? She does whatever she wants, destroys whatever she wants, takes whatever she wants, and protects whatever she wants to hurt. Just like now, I looked at the traveler with a gentle and pure gaze, even smiled at her. New classmate, you're also good. Are you okay? Are you alright? You trample on the blood of my family, on the soul that cries out in agony, and you are constantly deceiving this low-level human who you think is nothing. You must be doing well. She was stunned for a moment, her gaze briefly passed over me, as if she had some doubts, but they soon disappeared. Miss Lily slightly furrowed her brow. You're the one who was supposed to come last week, Luna. Miss Lily was a strict and rigid person, but she was fair and responsible. She didn't like me from the last time, and certainly didn't like the time traveler who had been a week late for class. Luna. It turned out her name was Luna. I murmured to myself. She seems to be pretending not to know me. And she also seems to think it's normal that I don't know her. People who are possessed often show some signs of mental confusion. They don't remember their bodies being taken over, they just think they are sick. So she thinks you don't know what happened 2 months ago. I thought about it. Luna paused, then raised her eyebrows, confidently walked up to the podium, with red lips and white teeth, smiling. I'm also a transfer student. My name is Luna. The students gave a somewhat uneven round of applause, mixed with 2 teasing whistles. I remained expressionless. My smile didn't change at all, and I followed Miss Lily's direction to the seat by the aisle. Hey, new student. Someone poked my shoulder from behind. I turned around and saw a particularly bright and handsome young face. A boy with light brown short hair rested his face on his textbook, his round eyes wide with curiosity, and a mischievous smile. I saw you outside the classroom, I said. What's your relationship with Harry? I looked at him. I know him. His name is Simon. Last time, he also sat behind the time traveler, laughing without a care. New student, I saw it. You were brought in by Harry. How come you separated at the classroom door? He hated his older brother. The reason was simple. At the start of the term, the girl he liked had shown affection towards his older brother. What was the time traveler's response last time? He's my stepbrother, the time traveler said with a pitiful look. Maybe he doesn't want people to know he knows me. After all, at home, he doesn't really pay attention to me. Simon was suddenly indignant. What's going on? Does Harry bully girls? How childish the reasons, how clumsy the acting. Yet it made the two of them hit it off immediately. Simon kept asking about his brother's misdeeds at home, and the time traveler's hesitations and furtive glances became evidence supporting those rumors. After all, Simon comes from a wealthy and influential family, and he's also outgoing and likable. People are willing to listen to what he says. That Harry, have you heard? He seems to often bully his sister at home. He's not good with girls, is he? Cold and indifferent. Humph, what's with the high and mighty act? He doesn't even have much money. Is that true? But I thought he was actually pretty nice. Now that you mention it, he does seem to be more attentive to female teachers. Oh, I thought he was a decent guy. I'm disillusioned. His sister also said she had lost things at home. What things? Not those. His sister isn't actually related to him by blood. She's just his stepmother's child. Teacher, sister, is the next step the stepmother. He's really having fun. Haha, 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 haha. In hushed whispers, uncomfortable low laughter rose and fell. Finally, it focused on Simon's face, showing an expression of annoyance, with a touch of innocence and some guilt, as he said to the time traveler, I didn't mean to. I just couldn't stand Susan being so nice to him. She doesn't even pay much attention to him. I didn't say anything, but when others asked me, I just told them what you said. The time traveler sighed. It's not your fault. Actually, you didn't say anything wrong. We didn't think much of it, just complained a bit. But now everyone is saying this outside, and it's making me feel like his look at the mother is a bit strange. Simon asked again. Should I clarify it? You're just too kind. The traveler touched his head. It's okay. The pure remain pure. Simon relaxed. You're right. How well said. The pure remain pure. The impure remain impure. Yes, Taylor family's young master. The most innocent, the most cheerful, the most naive, and the most unsuspecting, of course. He also can't keep secrets. Later I realized, the traveler was also my age. In her high-level world, she must have been a high and mighty, spoiled young lady, so she was childish, arrogant, and vain. Her methods were actually not worth much, and her performance seemed pretentious and fake. She could hurt my brother, my friends, my family, and my teachers, simply because they loved me. They loved me, so they were hurt by such a blunt blade. The traveler pretended to be pitiful in front of others, But she showed all her poisonous fangs to those who loved me. But when I went back to the past, I found out that her tricks had deprived her of the ability to forcibly take over my body, and it was utterly weak. My gaze lingered for a while. I smiled at Simon and said gently, "He takes his father's surname, and I take my mother's." "Oh," Simon was caught in my words, "so you're his sister, then?" I interrupted him. "Classmate, I also saw it. You're passing notes to the girl in the second row. Are you two dating?" The girl sitting in the second row is Simon's favorite girl, Susan. Simon suddenly felt a bit embarrassed, as if his secret had been discovered. "Hey, it's me asking you, who said passing a note means dating? Is that so?" I said. "I saw her looking at you secretly. I thought you two were a couple." Simon was stunned. Looking at me, he looked a bit excited, but also cautious. "Is that true or not? Why would I lie to you?" I asked him back. "I think you two actually look quite compatible." Simon was about to speak, but Luna patted his shoulder and inserted herself, not wanting to be left out. Her cheeks were rosy, and she slightly pouted. "Classmate, what's your name? What are you talking about? Can I listen too?" I looked at her calmly, my smile unchanged, like a calm lake without a ripple. She was really eager, unable to wait even a moment. "She wants to take everything from you and make you suffer." "I know," I said, looking at Simon. "I feel the same way." Simon and Luna finished their conversation and came back, still full of enthusiasm. I was tidying the table when he was about to say something, but his gaze suddenly stopped at the second row of seats. Susan was talking to my brother, smiling shyly and beautifully. Simon's expression immediately froze, but a second later, his attention was drawn back to me. Ding! A coin fell onto the table, rolled a few times, and finally landed in my palm. "Don't you ever pay attention?" I said, propping my chin in my hand. "You were so engrossed in talking to Luna. The girl in the second row was watching you for a long time, and you didn't even notice." "Huh?" Simon's expression immediately became flustered. "She really saw me. Otherwise, what?" I said in a low voice. "You were chatting with another girl. No wonder she went to talk to someone else as soon as you turned around." "But Simon hesitated, instinctively about to argue. She and I aren't dating. She likes Harry." I thought. "So you also know that, right?" I knew what he was about to say, but I wouldn't let him finish. "Simon, is that your name?" I cut him off. "Are you always so enthusiastic with every girl? You know, if you keep acting like this, that girl might not talk to you anymore." Simon was stunned again. He asked me tentatively, "If I chat with other girls, will she get angry?" "Of course," I said with a smile, "like when you see her talking to other boys. Don't you get angry?" Simon fell silent, then hesitantly leaned in. "You seem to understand quite a lot. Why don't I understand?" I asked him back. My brother often got caught in the middle of jealous lovers, and he once asked me helplessly what to do about it. Last time, Susan ended up being with Simon in the end. "I didn't expect him to be such a person," Simon said, sobbing on his shoulder as if she had suffered a great injustice. "You know a person's face but not their heart." Simon comforted her. "It's okay, I'm different from him. I'll protect you," Susan whispered. "Yeah, I just realized now, you're the best to me, Susan. I really like you." Simon mustered up his courage. "Be with me." Susan bit her lip, her face shy. "Okay, a perfect couple, made for each other." All that is left for my brother is just the phrase, "Knowing a person's face does not mean knowing their heart." How true, knowing a person's face does not mean knowing their heart. Simon looked a bit embarrassed. "So that's the case. Luna seems to like you a lot." I changed the subject. "You just said you two weren't dating." But actually, my words were left unfinished, but I knew Simon would understand what I meant. He immediately vowed, "Don't say that. I only like her. I won't change my heart." I didn't say anything else. After class, I went to find my brother, and he asked me if I was getting used to the English-only teaching. I smiled and said, "It's okay, since you just started school, not understanding is perfectly normal." My brother's handsome face remained very calm. "I'll help you go over it again tonight." "Okay," I answered without hesitation. "Thank you, brother." After a pause, I said, "Newcomer Luna seems not to be very adapted. But my new desk mate knows her, and went to help her organize her notes after class." My brother paused, and a bit of confusion appeared in his dark eyes, probably thinking I was envious of her, and cautiously asked, "Would I help you too?" "No need." I couldn't help but smile, and said happily, I just think everyone seems very friendly. It's nice." After saying that, I also gave a friendly smile to the girl by my brother's side who was looking at me during lunch break. I saw Simon, who was alone, being stopped by Luna. "Simon, you're alone," Luna said naturally. "Let's have lunch together." But he wasn't as friendly as he had been at first. His expression even showed a bit of disgust, and he politely refused Luna's invitation to have lunch, and even bluntly said, "We're not that close." "What's so funny?" Seeing me suddenly laugh, my brother asked, confused. "I was thinking of something happy," I said with a smile. "Brother, I bought 2 bottles of milk. I'll share one with you." My brother wasn't very fond of milk, but after looking at me, he suppressed his hesitation and said seriously, "Thank you." Previously, Simon would have lunch with Susan every day at noon. Facing a persistent admirer, even if not interested, one might still feel a bit of vanity and possessiveness, especially, a girl suddenly appeared, who seemed very interested in him, and would come to see him right after class. Susan really took my words to heart. The lively and cheerful young master is good at everything, but lacking in propriety is a bit annoying. It's okay though, it's fine if the little dog wants to play with others, just keep him out and starve him for a day, and he will realize who is his real master. Simon really took my words to heart as well. The young master who has been spoiled will not show a good face to anyone before getting what he wants. Not only that, but all the way until the next day and the day after. Susan did not show a good face to Simon either. I remained indifferent to other classmates, but became more familiar with Simon. Luna didn't understand the reason, but still gritted her teeth and went to find the elusive Simon to be turned away. Simon likes Susan. It's not a secret. Luna is too arrogant to notice. Maybe I could surpass her, just by the information gap of reliving the Sammy situation. Simon was extremely frustrated and came to me for help. "Hey, you know so much. Can you help me out?" I said slowly. "It's very simple. Just show that you don't like Luna." His eyes sparkled, and he said, "This person is really annoying. It's just because of my family. She always follows me around." Luna's identity is not prominent in this world, according to the supervisors. She came to the lower realm with limitations, which doesn't mean she can do anything she wants. I just smiled and didn't say a word. Strange rumors began to spread in the class about the new girl Luna, saying she didn't study well and only played around with male classmates. Some people saw her hanging out in a bar, some saw her smiling sweetly at male teachers, some heard she had a messy private life, and others heard she was hanging out with a group of gangsters outside. These voices were small, but they still reached my ears. Why? Is it because my desk mate is the one spreading the rumors? I don't know. Simon came back to thank me, excitedly saying, "Hey, Susan actually wants to talk to me. She even agreed to go out together this weekend." I said, "That's great." I took a sip of milk and thought, it's really that simple, just a little push. And the past situations that made me feel helpless were suddenly resolved. I thought the enemy was impenetrable. But in reality, it was just like this, nothing to be afraid of. Even the arrogant and domineering Luna was not as smart as I thought. She was just a spoiled, naive young girl, living in a high position, unaware of the real world. It's really that simple. But the past travelers used such a simple method to destroy my brother. I thought, once again, using such a simple method on yourself, would you also feel pain, Luna? I don't have the intention of getting along well with my classmates. I know that most of them will no longer be in the Sammy class as me after a while. The class division exam is coming up soon. My brother and I are in the Sammy examination room. Before I entered the classroom, my brother stopped me and asked seriously, "Did you bring everything?" Me? Ruler, no, 2 pencils, straight edge, eraser, and your water cup and student ID. He listed one by one. "Did you check them this morning?" I obediently said, "I checked, everything is ready." "Put the water cup on the floor, not on the desk, because it might spill." My brother nodded and added 2 more reminders. I nodded, saying, "Okay, I understand. Thank you, brother." He hummed and hesitated for a while, then lowered his head and said to me, "Don't be nervous. Good luck on the exam, big brother." Also, I said seriously, "With your grades, you're definitely going to get into Class A." Class A is the entire YH top-tier experimental class, where the students are the most outstanding ones, but nothing is absolute. There are always people with more power and influence who can directly place their children into Class A. the last time, my brother was also able to get into Class A. It wasn't because of, I walked into the classroom, put down my backpack, and silently took out my exam supplies. Hey, Four Eyes, someone patted the boy next to me who wore glasses. Lend me your notes later, okay? When I turned back, the gloom in my eyes had completely disappeared. I calmly looked at the boy behind me. He had a tall stature and long legs, looking a bit older than us, good-looking, with an earring in his ear, and was smirking at the boy with glasses. Let's help each other out. Upon seeing me looking at him, he raised an eyebrow and grinned at me. There's still a girl like you this year. I didn't notice before. I also smiled gently at him. I'm a transfer student, Neil, the last time. The time traveler had already known him, the son of the Xavier family, skipping classes, smoking, gathering to fight, not studying, indulging in drinking, gambling, and other vices, almost a complete disaster. The irony is that because of his good looks, and although he was usually a bit rough, he never harmed girls, and even dared to challenge the teacher in public. He still had many girls who admired him, thinking he was a rebellious school bully. I don't know what the time traveler was thinking, maybe just that this life was fresh. She quickly got involved with Neil, using my body to have sex with him. The time traveler played the role of a pitiful little rabbit, crying about how her brother and stepfather treated her so badly after the family reorganization. This hit Neil's nerve. Neil's mother passed away early, and his father married a stepmother, who gave birth to a son. His stepmother was indifferent, and his younger brother was obedient and intelligent, but his father became increasingly biased, even planning to pass the inheritance to his brother. Neil thus gave in to self-destructive behavior and resented his family. It was the Sammy blended family, the Sammy annoying brother, which made him feel that he and the time traveler were in the Sammy situation. His resentment had nowhere to be expressed, so he used it to act on behalf of heaven during an exam. When someone passed him the answers, the proctor noticed something, and he casually kicked the bundle of answers under his brother's desk, pretending not to notice and blaming his brother for cheating. No one spoke for the older brother. The student who passed him the answers did not, and the time traveler who witnessed the entire process also did not. Finally, everyone tacitly accepted that the older brother had cheated. Neil claimed, "I'm not a good person, nor a bad one," and unilaterally regarded the older brother as a bully of women. Because of this, he naturally framed the older brother, bullied him, and had people beat him up. He coldly said, "You have to deal with trash the way you deal with trash." It was unclear whether the trash he referred to was the older brother, his stepmother, and younger brother, or both. He was completely unaware of how ridiculous his behavior was. He felt that the time travelers who were in the Sammy situation as him were pitiable, so he believed himself to be just, fair, and correct. I remember Neil smiling that day when he boasted to the time traveler about his achievements. The smile he showed when he replaced the older brother's college entrance exam results with his own 2 years later was exactly the same. Neil looked at me with an interested gaze again. I just casually took out my exam bag and placed it on the desk, saying, "The proctor this time is Director Chen. Do you know him?" My question was abrupt. Neil stopped in his action. I calmly smiled at him and said, "The last time I went to tutoring, I saw Director Chen enter J City Education." J City Education is Neil one of his stepmother's institutions, and Director Chen is also a person from his stepmother's family. He was staring again last time Neil noticed something was wrong. Too bad Neil's father would never let Neil carry the record of cheating, which would be on his file, and he also believed it was Neil's stepmother who was trying to frame Neil. So this matter was resolved with a few ambiguous witnesses, without even checking the surveillance footage. Because of this, Neil's father had a big argument with the stepmother, and Neil also realized, and the relationship with his father improved a bit. These things were all told by Neil to the time traveler. At this moment, Neil looked at me, and his expression turned dark. "What do you mean?" I smiled gently and said, "Neil student, you are very famous. I had heard of your name before I came to the school." He had a short temper and his emotions were always on his face. "Are you reminding me?" I turned my head and said, "Sometimes, a person's fate is in their own hands. Some people may seem to be in a low place, but they are just hidden among the sand, overshadowed by the nearby crystal, but he will eventually become the most beautiful pearl, maybe even, in the distant future, a star." I smiled and said, "But crystals aren't valuable, I only like stars." Neil seemed to think about it, and his expression relaxed instantly. He playfully tugged at my hair. You're good at talking, transfer student. I didn't say anything, because the bell for the class was ringing. I really only like stars. As for that garbage like sand and gravel. I looked down and let out a cold laugh. I will crush you bit by bit. YH's exam is quite difficult, but it's nothing for me. I was trapped in my body, unable to speak or move for 5 years, and studying and observing were the only things I could do. I was once praised for being resilient as a child, and I didn't take it seriously then, but now I think it's a very good word, like the most unremarkable weed. After being burned to ashes, it will again break through the soil with the spring wind. Finally, I got another chance, and all the previous preparations became meaningful. After the exam ended, my brother did the cleaning, and I stood at the classroom door waiting for him. When I ran into Luna, although I would tremble when I first saw her, I have now learned to control my emotions well, even smiling kindly at her. Luna classmate. She stopped in front of me and squinted. Wendy, coming from a higher plane to a lower one, she has an advantage. Currently it's just her talent, appearance, and wealth, although she seems to be more than enough to crush me. But Luna has a fatal weakness. She doesn't regard the people of this plane as people. Her inherent arrogance makes her feel that everything is under control, so she naturally doesn't take our feelings into account. For example, Simon liking Susan. For example, Neil's desire for encouragement and recognition. For example, jealousy. She doesn't pay attention to what others think of her. And she doesn't understand why Simon ignores her, so she naturally doesn't understand what kind of reputation a girl who is always chasing boys and is excessively beautiful would have. Last time, it was because she suppressed the person I loved, that made her better off. But what about this time? Luna seemed to be chatting with me casually, asking, "Hey, why did you transfer to this school?" She is testing me. I thought for a moment. YH, is there anything wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it, Luna said, but I heard from the teacher that you were previously at the first middle school. I lowered my eyes. I'm not really sure. I had a serious illness, and I've been a bit confused ever since. Maybe people have some phases of thoughts that even they can't understand themselves. Oh, her expression showed a bit of unconscious disdain and pride. But you just arrived not long ago, and you already have a good reputation. Luna classmate isn't more popular than me. I feigned surprise. But everyone is indeed very friendly. Her expression relaxed a little, and she asked casually, "The boy sitting behind you today, do you know him too?" "You mean Neil?" I understood what she was getting at, and I smiled a little. "I've heard of his name, and I just said a few words to him." "Do you like him?" Luna furrowed her brow and asked confidently. "Aren't you the one who likes Simon?" She chose me, of course, because she thought I was quiet, obedient, and not very smart. She would ask me anything and I would answer without any subtlety, so she came straight to me to gather information, but that's just too arrogant. I was a bit unbelievable, but I still followed her lead, frowning slightly and showing a bit of resistance. "Luna classmate, this is my privacy, right?" She looked at me strangely and smiled with satisfaction. "Just asking." Luna turned around and left, and I stood behind her, looking at her strangely as well. I of course knew what would happen next. Since I showed a little interest, she would just take it away directly. I slightly bent my lips and looked at my older brother walking out of the classroom, saying in a light tone, "Are you going home, older brother? Neil was talking to you today, right? Do you know him?" My older brother looked at me, his calm eyebrows showing a bit of concern, and said seriously, "Wendy, although we are still students, Neil isn't someone suitable to be friends with." I was taken aback for a moment, then couldn't help but laugh. "I know, older brother. I just chatted with him for a bit. It's nothing. I don't want to be friends with him anyway. I've seen him fighting outside of school before." My older brother took out a milk candy from his pocket and gave it to me. Although he hasn't bullied any girls, getting close to him might bring trouble from those people outside school. Despite his calm and proper appearance, my older brother loved sweets and always carried a few packs of candy with him. I tore open the candy wrapper and said politely, "I'll take care of myself. Don't worry, older brother." My older brother said, ruffling my hair, "I'll take care of you too." My nose tingled, and I nodded at him very firmly. "It's okay, this time, I'll take care of you." When I got home, Mom and stepdad didn't ask about the exam. Mom just smiled and pulled me aside for a chat. "I heard that you're adapting well, and you get along well with your classmates, Wendy. The last time you Philip uncle told me, YH is an English-only school, and the exams are different from regular high schools. It's okay that our first scores dropped, just take it slow. Okay, I nodded and said, Mom, don't worry. I think I did pretty well. Well then, Mom's expression suddenly showed a bit of worry. Mom and Philip uncle will be quite busy lately. Take care of yourselves. I paused for a moment. Philip uncle's company has some problems. Mom was a bit surprised, then smiled gently, patting my head as if to comfort me. It's not a big deal. It's okay, Wendy. Last time, Neil was able to defame my brother so recklessly, and one of the important reasons was that Philip's family had problems. Stepfather is in the building materials business. This batch of construction materials had passed the quality inspection, but still caused an accident on the construction site. Injured workers were demanding compensation. Moreover, at this critical moment, the land developer, investor, and dealer all started pressuring the company, demanding a reasonable compensation, or else the cooperation would be terminated. There's no such coincidence in the world. First, the materials had a problem. Then all the companies with whom we had a partnership coldly turned their backs on us, and the public opinion was running high. As well as some problems with the financial chain, I clearly knew that someone was trying to sabotage stepfather's company. I even knew that the person was the boss of a competitor company of stepfather's, H's company. I'm just a high school student. I don't have much ability to help. But some things, I know more than my original self, and that's enough. Mom, the parent-teacher meeting is next Monday. I asked Mom, you and Uncle will go together, right? Mom was a bit distracted, but still answered gently, we have already cleared our schedule for that day. Monday is the day when YH announces the results. The bulletin board was crowded with people, and my brother and I walked over. The classmates around us were rushing there, searching for their names at the bulletin board. I looked down at the honor roll. First place, clearly written as Harry, 3 characters. Harry, Chinese 136, Math 150, English 149, Physics 99, Chemistry 100, Biology 98, total score 732, total rank 1. I had already heard that my brother had never gotten a second place from primary school to high school, and I didn't expect it to be so extreme. Such scores seemed beyond human capability. I continued reading downward. Sam, Chinese 131, Math 150, English 148, Physics 97, Chemistry 98, Biology 96, total score 720, total rank 2. Catching sight of this name, I lowered my eyes and let out a faint snort. Sam, it's such a familiar name. When I was feeling a bit down and distracted, my brother lightly patted my head. You did very well. His voice became a bit gentler. Wendy, you're really amazing. I blinked and saw my own name in the 6th position. Although it can't compare to my brother's at all, it's still pretty good. At least it's higher than my own expectations. My gaze continued downward, and I saw Luna in the 11th position. As I thought, she didn't put all her energy into studying. Even if she could get good grades with those cheating-like methods from the higher dimension, she couldn't have lifted herself to the first place. Moreover, Luna didn't care about academic performance. Or rather, she originally thought that an 11th place result would be enough to crush me. I came to my senses and looked up at my brother with a smile. My brother is still more capable. After the results came out, it was straight to the new class for registration. The teacher had already arranged the seats in Class A. I glanced at the name of my seatmate, Jenny. I was staring at her name tag, when suddenly a shadow fell over me. I turned around and saw a girl with a high ponytail looking at me in surprise. Her features were clear and refined, and she had an intimidatingly masculine aura. You're the new transfer student, Wendy. Her voice was not as delicate as most girls, but rather had a husky, magnetic quality. Getting into the top 10 on the first day, pretty impressive. So you're Jenny. I smiled at her. She raised an eyebrow. With such a high-ranking new deskmate, my dad will surely start nagging again tonight. I didn't say anything. Jenny was a typical student with a one-sided talent, scoring high in physics, chemistry, and biology, but barely passing in Chinese and English, so her ranking was always around 30. Jenny, Parker family. I didn't expect it to be this coincidental, because in my plan, approaching her would require some effort, because Jenny wasn't someone easy to get close to. I had seen her being harsh and scolding time travelers, with a look of hatred in her eyes that made people feel terrified. Sometimes she was cold and arrogant, sometimes indifferent. But I knew she had hatred in her heart, the Sammy hatred as me, unrelenting and deeply rooted. I need her help. I stared at her fixedly, then reached out and said, "Hello, new desk mate." Luck happened to favor me this time. My brother's seat was exactly in front of me. When I glanced at his desk mate, it was Neil. Neil couldn't even get into an A class, yet he was here anyway. But I wasn't surprised at all. Even when he entered the classroom, I gave him and the Luna next to him a warm smile. He was pretty quick. Luna was more efficient than I expected, but Luna looked a bit pale now, even somewhat pale, and couldn't show her usual bright smile while holding Neil, and when she saw me, her expression darkened, and her eyes flickered with some uncertain surprise. "Hey, new student." Neil was quite at ease, approaching me lazily and tapping my desk. "I saw your name. 6th place. I didn't expect you to be a top student." I just smiled gently and said, "We can be classmates now." He seemed to be taken aback for a moment, then awkwardly rubbed his nose, even letting go of Luna's arm, and grinned, saying in a teasing tone, "So, you're actually happy." Luna then bit her lip again and leaned in closely. Neil frowned impatiently. "What do you want?" Because of family-related factors, there was once compassion, but this time, it might just be a normal affair of passion, which is why Neil is acting this way. When it comes to beautiful girls, Neil has dated many. The special and gentle moments were only because he truly cared about himself. Luna doesn't have enough information or the memory of a second chance, so she can't figure it out. Like now, being ranked higher in the exam can suppress Luna's power. But I don't really like Neil. The plans Luna has for Neil are probably just a waste of time. Of course, Luna said with a deep sense of malice, but I seemed completely unaware, looking at Neil with full attention and gentleness. "Why wouldn't I be happy? You are an important part of my plan, Miss Xing. I am naturally happy to see you." After Luna and Neil left, Jenny suddenly asked me, "So that's another transfer student?" I nodded and organized the exam papers on the desk. "He changes girlfriends pretty quickly," Jenny said with a scoff. "Don't tell me you're also one of his." "How could that be?" I said coldly. "If that were true, it would be really disgusting." Perhaps he wasn't expecting this reaction from me. Jenny turned to look at me, her gaze filled with surprise. "Out of the 30 students in our class, more than half I don't know, but the ones I do know are all there. Susan, Neil, Simon, and also Sam. The homeroom teacher is no longer Miss Lily, but a smiling male teacher who teaches physics and surnamed Scott. He first praised us in a gentle manner, then immediately got to the point and started explaining the exam papers. The parent-teacher meeting for YH requires both parents and students to attend. In the evening, my mom and stepfather arrived early and sat next to my brother and me. My mom touched my report card and smiled happily. "Wendy did so well. The teacher just praised you to me." Meanwhile, Jenny's father also came over, looking very envious. 146 in English. That's really impressive. 5 or 10 points higher than my daughter. Jenny was just rolling her eyes, giving me a look of, "I told you so." I bit my lip and whispered, "You're better than my brother, Harry. He's never gotten anything less than first," Mom said, smiling even more. "He was born to be good at studying, but we Wendy are not bad either. Are you Harry's mother?" As Mom was speaking, a voice suddenly came from behind. It was a deep, magnetic, steady, and pleasant adult male voice. "Yes, are you?" Mom's tone was a bit confused. In that instant, my body stiffened, then slowly relaxed as if nothing had happened, and I turned my head. Before me stood a pair of father and son with similar appearances. The young man had a cold and elegant look, wearing a pair of thin silver-rimmed glasses, a teardrop under his eyelids, pale skin, and appeared refined and indifferent. The man beside him was tall, with a refined demeanor, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, handsome features, and it was hard to tell his exact age, but he gave off a sense of elegant and composed grace that seemed naturally endowed. "Sam, say hello to the aunt." The man patted the boy's shoulder, looking elegant. "I'm his father, Hunter." He chatted casually with his mother, and only when leaving did his gaze accidentally pass over me. My eyes slowly traced over him, trying to etch every contour of his face into my memory. "Sam is that? I've heard Harry talk about him. He's the class monitor, right? He seems to be excellent in every aspect. He also came second in the grade this time." My mother whispered to me in admiration, looking at him like this. "He really does seem to have good family education." My fingers dug into my palm, desperately suppressing my emotions. Mom, I need to go to the restroom. My mother didn't suspect a thing. And I turned away from the classroom, went to the restroom. And when I let go of my mouth, I started to vomit. A wave of nausea surged over me. I leaned against the wall, breathing heavily, and my mind was filled with some fragmented images. The man, the desk, warm fingers, skillful movements, a cool touch on my back, whispers broken in the girl's mouth. Hunter uncle, Philip's family. Hush, baby. Are you going to plead for Philip? How could that be? I just wanted to say, uncle, the thing with Philip's family last time, but I saw you with other girls. Philip's family, did you see? It was at that usual place, wasn't it? She's maybe 13 or 14, and was she given to you by Sam? She looks like she doesn't know anything, and she's not as good as coming to play with me, uncle. At least I could. Could what? I watched her use my body to do all those disgusting things. I watched her laugh and destroy my family's last hope with that hypocritical man, but I could do nothing. I was helpless. I crouched on the ground, my eyes red, unconsciously pressing the flush button, until the sound of the water drowned out my retching. After coming out of the bathroom, I saw a woman standing in the hallway. She had long, wavy brown hair, pale skin, red lips, and a slender cigarette between her porcelain-like fingers. The red tip of the cigarette glowed in her upturned almond-shaped eyes, making her look almost seductive. After seeing me come out, she glanced at me, then quickly turned away. I didn't move. But I suppressed my still somewhat rapid breathing and whispered, "Hello, Neil's stepmother, Kathy." She was one of the main reasons I came to the parent-teacher meeting. At this point, she looked at me again, still with a bored expression. "Are you a student in this class?" "My name is Wendy." I turned my head. "I met you when I went to a party with my dad, Ms. Kathy." She paused for a moment. "Who is your father?" "I'm still being polite," I said. "Philip." "Oh, Philip." She seemed uninterested, and flicked the ash from her cigarette. "Ms. Kathy." I paused. "You look very beautiful." Kathy let out a soft laugh, probably used to such flattery, but because I was especially sincere, she added one more sentence. "You're also very pretty, little girl. I also met a girl as pretty as you not long ago." I continued on. She had short hair, was very thin and pale, and had a lotus jade necklace around her neck. Kathy stopped moving completely, staring at me. "Wendy, my name is this," I said softly. "Wendy, where did you see that girl?" She seemed to have lost her patience. "Who sent you to talk to me like this?" "Your father." "No." I looked at her. "Ms. Kathy, I saw her. That girl named Riley was Kathy's current biggest partner, the daughter of the Lincoln family. She went missing a year ago, and after 3 months she was found again, but she had gone mad and still couldn't see people today. Lincoln family treated her like a treasure, vowing to find the person who took her and make them pay." "Saw her," Kathy repeated. "What did you see?" "A place." I saw flashes of images in my mind. She was given alcohol, then taken by someone in a car, and went into a place from which she never came out again. She immediately frowned and said, "The story is quite interesting." Candace's no. 7 bar. "Riley likes Neil. She was taken away before. Neil was sitting next to her." I looked at Kathy. "Kathy, I know where she was taken to." "Neil." Kathy thought for a moment, then laughed. "Wendy, you and my son have a grudge." Kathy is a businesswoman, and her marriage to the Xavier family is for profit. But when she found out that Neil's father still wanted to leave everything to Neil and just pretended to be polite with her, I guess, even if she originally had no ill intentions toward Neil, she would have developed some resentment. I don't know when Kathy and Neil's father started to drift apart. Maybe from the moment Kathy discovered his disgusting habits. In short, one Neil, for one Lincoln family. What a profitable deal. "No grudge, madam," I smiled. "I just like you more. You're a new student, aren't you?" Kathy seemed not to be anxious anymore, and she asked me leisurely, "Don't tell me, a girl of 15 or 16, transferred here just for this?" "Of course not." I walked to her side and stood beside her. "Madam, do you want to leave the Xavier family?" "I can stand by your side." "Stand by my side." Kathy laughed wildly, as if she had heard the biggest joke. "How old are you? What makes you think you can stand by my side?" From that address, I lowered my eyes, unimpressed. "The alley next to F Road 37, turn left and enter a red gate. Go straight into boy and girl's home. The elevator only goes to the 8th floor. There's a hidden door next to the 8th floor leading to the 9th floor. 27 private compartments. Each with a different password. Do you want to guess, Riley, which one she was in, and Mr. Kevin which one he was in? Kevin, Neil's father. Kathy's smile stopped. She stared at me straightly. After a while, her finger painted with bright red nail polish touched my chin, and her tone softened. Okay, you're more clever than I thought. I'll check what you said. I don't take advantage of children. What do you want? I raised my eyes and said, I won't go there, and I can't find anything else. But I want information about two people. Say it, she said lazily. I'll write it down. The first one, H Group's president, David, he's a regular, I said slowly. The second one is called Sunny. Probably, already dead, H Group. Kathy extinguished her cigarette. Although I don't know who taught you to say these words, but you're not afraid I'll deny it. You won't, Kathy, I said in a gentle tone. I have many choices. I could even directly tell the Lincoln family, but I chose you now because I believe in you. I will be on your side. I think you're not on my side. Kevin and Neil against you, Kathy said, flicking her curly hair. You're a clever little girl. I didn't deny it. I just smiled at her, hesitated for a moment, and then said, by the way, there's something else. Do you know the homeroom teacher? I want him to help me change seats. Does this little thing also need me? Kathy teased. Come on, who is the boy you like? No, I just said, I want Susan and Sam to be desk mates. The Hunter family. Kathy frowned. Susan's family is fine, but the Hunter family is different. The Hunter family isn't like the old bald head from the H Group. They are not so easy to deal with. What do you want to do? Just help me change the seat. I shook my head. It won't involve you. Kathy looked at me, and I just put my hands behind my back, whispering, I have something I must do, madam. I have many things I must do, even if no one stands behind me, even if the way is full of dangers. I must do it. This is the only meaning of my second chance. Kathy left quickly, and I stood by the corridor, staring into the quiet night. Wendy. A familiar voice came. I turned my head and saw a calm, handsome young man looking at me, his eyes black and clear, like a lake. Brother, I smiled. I came out for some fresh air. My brother didn't say much, but he also stood beside me and asked, why do you look a bit unhappy? I paused for a moment. Do I? My brother took an orange candy from his pocket, peeled the wrapper, and handed it to me, then naturally ruffled my hair. I'm not a child. How could a single candy cheer me up? I almost wanted to laugh, but when the orange fragrance spread across my lips and tongue, I found myself with a lump in my throat, almost overwhelmed with the urge to cry. The transparent candy wrapper was in my palm, feeling painful, but I just lowered my eyes and remained motionless. In the past years, I would sometimes feel confused as I watched the time traveler casually walk past those nauseating scenes. I initially thought that Luna was the most wicked person I could meet, and that having my body taken from me was the worst thing I had experienced. Later, I realized it was not like that. The malice hidden beside me had gone unnoticed before because of my family's protection and love, but when I became a complete bystander, I realized that those fangs, coated with deadly poison, were already capable of tearing me apart. Rumors, bullying, and defamation in the school were like this. And outside of school, on the 7th floor of boy and girl's home, I witnessed an entire hell. Those demons with dirty desires, wearing human skins, were chatting and laughing, enjoying themselves with ease and elegance in the large trading hall, consuming the lives of innocent and young children, girls as young as 12 or 13, boys as young as 15 or 16. I even saw children as young as 8 or 9. They would target children from ordinary families who couldn't stand up for themselves, or simply look for orphans with mental disabilities, physical impairments, or who had lost their parents. Riley was an accident. This one and only accident almost destroyed Hunter's paradise, because she was the daughter of the Lincoln family, and her family had enough power to trace this matter to the end. 27 rooms, 27 customers, all were well-known big shots. Luna could turn a blind eye, dismissing this cruel truth in her affectionate whispering with Hunter, but I couldn't. I could clearly piece together a terrible truth from their broken fragments of words. I have even seen those innocent girls. They stood at the door with bare feet, their tender necks and limbs completely naked, with a few almost transparent silk pieces covering their still underdeveloped parts, bells tied to their wrists and ankles, jingling constantly, like decorations for pets. They looked at me with confusion and fear. like a group of lambs about to be slaughtered. The traveler walked by carelessly, teasingly saying to Hunter, "Uncle, you still like me the most, right?" Hunter tickled her nose. "Of course, my dear, if I had another chance." I thought to myself, if I had another chance, could I really deal with such a terrifying person? I used to be so scared that I trembled all over, just like every girl they took away, desperate to the point of suffocation. What can I do? I'm just a student, an ordinary person who can't even lift a chicken. A girl who is quiet and weak in the eyes of the public, and I'm even not yet an adult. That's Hunter, a person frequently featured in financial magazines. Kathy is someone who doesn't want to provoke at all, let alone those 27 big figures. Any one of them could easily crush me, like a mantis trying to block a cartwheel, or an egg trying to hit a stone. Even so, there are some things I still have to do. Is it for revenge? Not just that. I looked up at my brother and said, "Sometimes I feel like I can't breathe. I'm doing something very dangerous. It's like sinking into a deep sea. No matter how hard I try, I can't see the sunlight. This thing, I can't tell anyone who cares about me, including you." My brother seemed to think for a moment, then took off his coat and put it on my shoulders, which were still trembling. "Wendy, the ocean is not as small as you think. There must be someone by your side who is also trying to swim upstream with you. Really, you can tell me, and I can be your companion." I didn't say anything, just tightened the coat that still carried my brother's body heat. "You are not my companion, you are my flotation device." After the parent-teacher meeting, Sam and Susan ended up as classmates. As I expected, Susan started showing affection towards Sam. Sam is very good at disguising himself. He can always appear polite and refined, just like his father Hunter, especially with girls. Even if he doesn't really care deep down, Sam can act gentlemanly and kind. Plus, he is good-looking and comes from a good family. If he showed just a little bit of care towards Susan, it was only natural for Susan to be attracted to him. As for why Susan he showed these behaviors, Sam rarely got second place from childhood, until he met his older brother, such a dark and twisted person. He stubbornly longed for his father's approval, but from the moment he entered YH, the first place was repeatedly taken by his older brother, Harry. This name seemed to be like Sam, the shadow. He could always easily get everything, yet remained calm and indifferent, as if he didn't care about these things. Even Hunter had once praised his older brother. Sam hates his brother. It's simply obvious. It's like Luna to me. Sam to Harry as well, is trying to take everything away from him without hesitation. Everything that happened to my brother last time had Sam's shadow, and Susan, a girl who likes my brother, would also be taken by Sam. Simon came to see me again, looking gloomy. "I feel like Susan is about to fall in love." "It's not going to happen," I comforted him. "It's normal for classmates to be close. It's not normal at all," Simon said, frustrated. Before, Harry and Susan always kept their distance, but I just saw Susan peeling an orange for Sam, and he didn't even refuse. "Sam and my brother are completely different people," I said coldly. "Sam seems to be very popular. I saw Neil's girlfriend Luna and him getting along well too," Simon said vaguely. "Hey, what do you think of Sam?" I smiled gently. "He's great. I wish I were his classmate." Simon was stunned. His lips moved as if he wanted to say something, but nothing came out. "Hey, you," he continued to ask stubbornly, "I was also your desk mate back then." "Yes," I nodded. "Don't you think Sam is gentle and patient?" "I also like boys like that. I've known you longer." Simon finally froze, looking somewhat angry. "So what?" I looked at him, puzzled. "Simon, are you angry?" His voice was filled with anger. "No." That was the anger of discovering a companion's betrayal, of everyone no longer choosing him. I pretended not to hear, stood up, and approached Sam. "Then I'll go find him first." Simon's expression I didn't bother to look at anymore. I just stood beside Sam and smiled a bit shyly. "Mr. C, can I ask you a question?" Sam looked up, his eyes hidden behind his glasses, unreadable. All I knew was that the young man was elegant, and his voice was gentle. "Where?" "Harry's sister, Harry, who is important too." With these two premises in place, Sam, how could I not be one of his targets? Sam's mind is indeed sharp, and he helped me perfectly solve the problem. I thanked him, and also met Sam with Luna, who was passing by, probably because she could sense the energy loss. Luna no longer wanted to pretend, and every time she ignored me, instead being more determined to oppose me. including trying to gain Sam's attention. I didn't care about her. I just walked towards the corridor and bumped into Neil, who was leaning on the railing playing with a lighter. "What?" Neil sneered. "Sam, the son of the Hunter family. Have you fallen for him?" I smiled and greeted him. "Neil, classmate, did you all go blind?" "Wendy," Neil looked down at me. "Sam is definitely not something good. These people really never stop." Although everything was still within the plan, a slight annoyance still arose in my heart. I whispered, "Us, didn't you notice?" Neil was some impatient. "Luna, she's targeting you. Is she your girlfriend?" I asked, a bit confused. "She's not my girlfriend." Neil became even more impatient. Neil said, "It's just something that came to me. I might as well take it." "Is that so, Sam, classmate? She's now interested in." "I really can't stand you. You looked smart at first." Neil, his eyes were a bit complicated. "Luna went to Sam, of course, because of you. You reminded me before, and I also reminded you. Stay away from Sam." Why would he tell me to stay away from Sam, the rebellious boy and girl's home, one of the trading points, Candace Bar? He watched one after another girl being taken away, time and time again. Boy and girl's home, one of the trading points, Candace Bar. He watched one after another girl being taken away, including Riley. His father was a regular. How could he not know? Hunter was also there. How could he not know? Sam had once brought those awkward and naive girls, young girls in love. Innocent and beautiful, those girls with eyes as clear as newborn deer. How could they have imagined that the boy they secretly loved would coldly give them a strong sedative and then put them on their father's bed, just to get a word of praise from their father? Those innocent and frightened girls. Some were Hunter tricked into falling in love with this man who seemed refined and gentle. Some were too scared to have to give up their souls, becoming exhibits at boy and girl's home. And others disappeared completely from this world because of their strong resistance. Neil certainly knew everything. He just chose not to listen, not to care, and to remain indifferent, standing aside. After all, Neil had once covered for his father, in a way. Sam, they were really similar in their filial piety. Did Neil think that a simple reminder now would make him change his ways and become a righteous person? I felt a bit confused in my heart, so I just asked directly, "Why?" "Knowing too much won't be good for you," he frowned. "Forget it, you bookworm, go study properly." After saying that, he walked away without looking back. I watched his back as he turned and went back to the classroom. After school, Jenny finished cleaning, and there were only the two of us left in the classroom. She suddenly mocked me. "Wendy, you have so many friends. You never have a moment to yourself." I remained calm. "Do you mean Simon, Neil, and Sam?" She raised an eyebrow. "Is that so? Friends?" I looked at the sunset outside the curtain. I had a very good friend. We were neighbors since childhood. After she graduated from elementary school, she moved away to another city, but we still kept in touch. I went to visit her, and she also came to see me. Jenny probably didn't know why I told her all this, and was a bit surprised. I remember that girl, Lisa, my best friend, who always had a high ponytail, was bright and outgoing, and would smile and hold my hand to go eat ice cream together. But she couldn't recognize me. How could she not recognize me? Just by listening to the time traveler's words, believing that I was bullied, came to this city, and then was sent to Candace by the time traveler himself. She was supposed to be sent to boy and girl's home, but was intercepted by Hunter and given to another group of young clients. Candace is itself a subsidiary of boy and girl's home, a place specifically for the entertainment of rich second generations. Occasionally, slightly lower quality goods are brought in. Lisa had been drugged in that smoky bar. She was in a daze and asked for help, but was taken into a private room by those rich second generations. Before the last finger was pulled off, she looked at me. The time traveler just watched helplessly. Hunter patted the time traveler's head and said, "Sweetheart, your gift was good, but next time don't send it again. People who aren't properly investigated can cause trouble." What background could she possibly have? The time traveler pouted in dissatisfaction. "Her parents are just ordinary workers." "Okay, be a good kid." Hunter calmly kissed the time traveler's ear. "Do you still want to watch?" They watched the disgusting scenes on the monitor as if nothing was wrong, then shamelessly started a romantic encounter. That was a living girl. That was my best friend. I was trapped inside my own body, watching this absurdity almost numbly. Then, a few days later, I heard the news that she committed suicide. Lisa, after reliving it once, I still kept in touch with her, without her noticing my difference. I don't plan to let her come to this city again. At least not before I resolve everything here. I was looking at Jenny, originally intending to smile, but as I laughed, my eyes filled with some tears, bright and warm, which I forced back into my eyelids. Jenny, Riley. After that, the second unexpected event, the daughter of the Parker family, a madwoman, who gave up her future and changed her major to enter the police academy, chased after the Hunter family like a mad dog, almost destroying the entire boy and girl's home. How much hatred you must have. The same hatred as me. Jenny, she should be a very gentle girl, with long curly hair, a bit brown. I said slowly. Her eyes are also light brown. She has poor eyesight, and often squints when looking at people. She is easily shy, so she often blushes. Jenny's expression gradually changed. She looked at me, and her body started to tremble. She often wears white clothes, and is very clean. Although her family is poor, she would give her a silver bracelet on her friend's birthday. She is very smart, especially good at Chinese and English. So often, it was her. Stop. Jenny's eyes were completely red. She raised her hand and grabbed my arm. A sleeve slipped down, revealing a silver bracelet on her wrist that had turned a bit black. What are you talking about, Wendy? Do you know anything? My hand was squeezed painfully, but my expression didn't change at all. I said softly, Jenny, was her name Sunny? That girl, in Kathy's investigation, only left a yellowed photo. A shy and gentle girl who smiled. Jenny's fingertips started to tremble, slowly. Slowly, she let go of her hand. Her eyes were full of tears, but her expression remained as fierce as a wolf whose territory was insulted. What do you want to do? Jenny is Jenny. In an instant, she understood the intention behind my gestures of goodwill. I can help you, I said. Sunny's death. I know who the murderer is. Kathy gave me evidence, and I now had the qualification to negotiate with Jenny. Who is it? If I told you, would you give up seeking revenge for her? No. Without the slightest hesitation, Jenny said directly, okay. I nodded. Hunter family's boy and girl's home. Sunny was taken there. Boy and girl's home. Jenny murmured, what is that place? I lowered my eyes and handed over the folder. A paradise on earth. Nothing more. The folder contained Kathy's information sent to me, including photos, records of customers, and prices for different services. There was no need for me to explain further. Jenny already understood what kind of place it was. She didn't speak anymore. The folder was crumpled in her hands, and a drop of liquid fell, dampening the paper. I didn't look up, didn't look at her expression, and pretended not to know the suppressed sounds between her lips were Jenny crying, who was usually cold and strange. She was like a wounded beast, almost howling. I stood silently by her side, saying not a word. Why did you help me? After a long time, she seemed to have calmed down. Her voice was just a bit hoarse, otherwise no different. After her body was found, I asked my father, but he told me not to get involved. I couldn't find those files, but I believe they are real. The Hunter family is not someone to mess with. It should be you who helped me, I said gently. Jenny, I also have a friend. Everything was understood without words. I also had a friend. Once, she died before my eyes. Just like you. I won't give up on revenge. We may have different paths. But the Sammy destination, David's spending records at boy and girl's home were sent to my stepfather via encrypted email, and the crisis of the Phillip family was officially resolved due to the intervention of the Parker family and the Kathy family. My stepfather is a businessman. Although he is naturally just and kind, he would never pass up an opportunity to threaten his opponent. Indeed, not long after David was taken away by the police, I have hidden part of the evidence. The part related to Hunter's family. With Jenny's help, I met with the chief of the city police department. I have thought about reporting to the police before, but boy and girl's home's affairs were too secret, and Hunter had already made preparations in advance. He could even quietly comfort the families of the girls, making them give up their appeals. If there is even the slightest hint of exposing him, he will not hesitate to escape. It was not for the connection between the time traveler and Hunter. I would never have thought that the seemingly upright Hunter family head would be involved in such dirty and despicable activities. Jenny's home. The tea leaves were swirling in the hot water, and I was lost in thought, staring at the teacup. My father found out. Jenny suddenly spoke, rubbing her temples in frustration. It was my aunt who helped me with the police station. if my father doesn't back down. I can't go on any further, it won't be that way. I paused. It's unwise to directly confront 27 families, but if it's a united attack and we can ensure that the last person will be caught, the uncle will be willing. Everyone is chasing after profit. Boy and girl's home is a secret underground establishment that brings huge profits to Hunter every year. This big cake of Hunter family is so tempting that someone will definitely be willing to take a bite. As long as we can disrupt Hunter's thoughts, put him in anxiety, and make him unable to focus on the matters of boy and girl's home, the police can catch them all before he has a chance to destroy the evidence. But the premise is, how to bring chaos to the seemingly unshakable Hunter family. I know what you mean. Jenny crossed her arms. Wendy, we're still too young. I don't understand business matters. How can you make those people turn against each other? I pulled out a piece of paper from my backpack, covered with many lines of relationships. The line connecting Kevin and Neil was marked in red, linking to Kathy and Kathy's family, with detailed notes on their disputes and key events in between. There were 27 relationship charts, clear and precise. What is this? Jenny widened her eyes. These are what? These are certainly Hunter's control over these clients. The confidence that they would never betray him. The time traveler has been following Hunter for 3 years, 3 years of torment. These conversations intertwined in daily life, the information revealed in them, for me, have been memorized every day, the only tool I have to turn things around. I lowered my eyes. Kathy will try every way to take over the Xavier family. And so will others. I've seen Hunter, how he manipulates people's minds, how he makes those clients fear yet obey him. I could never do it as well as he does, but imitating him would be enough. Some of these things, I'll give to your father, to exchange for favors, and some can be passed to their rivals in batches. I pointed at the red line above. With such an adversarial relationship, they won't let the evidence go to waste in their hands, but that's just the client. Dealing with Hunter's family, our family isn't enough. Jenny furrowed her brows slightly. Don't tell me you're thinking of bringing Philip's family in as well. Philip's family won't work. I shook my head, but there's still one more family. My pen tip pointed at the character, Lincoln family. They won't get involved in this. They will, I said in a low voice. Jenny, I want to ask you for a favor. I want to see Riley once. The Lincoln family's beloved little miss, who was found and has been mentally unstable ever since, is still recovering and not seeing anyone. If I were just Philip's stepdaughter, of course I wouldn't have the right to see her, but if it's Jenny, with her status, she at least has the right to deliver a message for me. I said. The Lotus Pavilion, room 18, Riley wants to see me. I and Jenny were taken into the Lincoln family, and when we entered Riley's small courtyard, I first met Riley's parents. What does room 18 mean? Riley's father, Luke, asked me seriously. Have you met Riley before? Riley hasn't reacted like this for a long time. Riley's mother's lips trembled. Little girl, what does this sentence mean? Why does Riley want to see you? I can't say. I shook my head. Uncle and aunt, if you want to know, I need to ask Riley first. If she doesn't want to, I can't say. What was the state of the daughter when she was found back? They all knew. She was covered in dirt, unconscious, and when she woke up, she would curl up in fear upon seeing people, her eyes full of terror, and would shiver at the sound of even a slightly loud noise. What had she been through? How had she been treated? Luke couple would feel as if their hearts were being cut with a knife whenever they thought about it. I can let you see Riley. After all, it's Riley's wish. Luke paused for a moment and said slowly, but I don't want Riley to be triggered again. I murmured, no, Uncle. She wants to come out more than anyone else. Riley wanted to come out more than anyone else. I and Jenny entered the villa where Riley was recovering, and saw this girl who had curled herself up. She buried her face in her knees, revealing only a pair of somewhat vacant eyes, staring at me motionlessly. I just looked at her calmly. Do you know Sunny's sister? She suddenly spoke. Do you know her? Jenny turned her head. I hesitated for a moment. Sunny's sister, is that the 18th girl? Riley fell silent again. The hospital diagnosed her with post-traumatic stress disorder, and she lost her memory. Occasionally, fragments of broken images would flash in her mind, which terrified her and caused her great pain. But I knew, the real Riley, had always wanted to get out. Otherwise, the last time, she wouldn't have endured such intense pain and discomfort, cooperating with the police investigation. constantly searching for the boy and girl's home location. Was it Sunny's sister who saved you? I asked softly. The 18th was her number. She saved you, she died. I don't know who the 18th girl was, but I know that she died in order to save Riley. She didn't know Riley's identity, but she knew this little girl was weak and innocent. If she didn't save her, Riley would have died. So the 18th used her life to take over a guest that Riley was supposed to receive. No one knows what methods she used, but she managed to get Riley out. This boy and girl's home is the only accident since its establishment, which made Hunter angry and he smashed several things. Riley opened her mouth, turned to look at me, her eyes filled with some tears. Is she dead? I remained silent. I didn't mean to. She trembled. I can't remember. The face of Sunny's sister, the faces of those people, that place, I can't remember. So many people died. I wanted to save her, but she said, I never want you to come back again. I know. I held her hand. Speaking gently, it's not your fault, no one is blaming you. I can't call the police immediately upon returning, because that would only cause the trapped girls to disappear along with the evidence. There are many things I must handle carefully, because I am really too weak. With my own strength, I can do nothing. Riley sobbed. I've been trying so hard to remember. I just can't. What was her name? Jenny suddenly spoke after listening for a while. What was the name of the Sunny sister you mentioned? She was a very kind person, gentle, and smart. She had light brown eyes and was easily shy. She was the 18th girl, Sunny's sister. Riley trembled all over, covering her head, and let out a painful moan. I can't remember, she told me. I just can't remember. While watching all this from a distance, Luke and his wife rushed over. Riley, what's wrong with you, Riley? The Jenny who I had held back also couldn't hold back her sobbing. Her bloodshot eyes looked a bit terrifying. Was her name Sunny? Tell me, was her name Sunny, the 18th girl? Sunny, I suddenly closed my eyes. That's how it is. It turned out that the last time Jenny investigated, she came to Hunter's house, because the girl who rescued Riley and almost destroyed the entire boy and girl's home was Sunny, the one that Hunter hated so much. Jenny's tears fell one by one. She was almost choking. I saw her body this year's spring festival, frozen in the river, all over with wounds. Sunny and Jenny had known each other for 15 years. She was a very gentle and lovely girl, my best friend from childhood. Her voice was hoarse. She was smart, looked weak, but wasn't afraid of the dark or ghosts. When we went to play escape rooms, it was always her who led me out, like this Sunny. She would touch her head and say, Jenny, don't be afraid, Sunny. She would always smile softly and get the top of the class. Sunny, this vivid and lively person. We had promised to spend the new year together. Sunny, when she was found, her body was swollen and pale from being submerged. Her whole body had no good skin left, and it was almost unrecognizable as a human form. Everyone knew something was wrong with this, but no one said anything anymore. The original investigation was dropped. Sunny parents suddenly gave up their appeal and accepted the hasty, accidental fall. Conclusion, Jenny later saw Sunny parents buying a new house and sending their own son to the best elementary school in the city. The truth was hushed up so quickly, except for Jenny. It seemed like no one cared how Sunny died. How could I not hate? How could I not hate? Riley's expression froze. She looked at Jenny. Sunny, yes, Sunny. I clenched my teeth tightly, feeling a wave of emotion blocking my chest, almost making me suffocate. Riley, we need your help to save the other girls. Riley became frightened again, but she tightly grabbed my hand, not wanting to let go. We have to go. We have to save them. Riley, Luke patted his daughter's back. Don't get excited, Riley. Whatever you want to do, I will help you. Boy and girls home. Riley spoke faster and faster, almost turning into a scream. They're all inside. We have to save them. Save them, Dad. Those bad people are coming over. Riley's mother went to call a doctor. Luke comforted her, while I patted Jenny's shoulder gently and whispered, Jenny, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. We can take revenge. It'll be okay. After the doctor came, my mother and Jenny were invited to the living room by Luke. He rubbed his forehead tiredly. That's Sunny. Is she your friend? I want to thank her for saving Riley. She's already dead. Jenny stared blankly at the coffee table. She doesn't need thanks. She just needs someone to get justice for her. Boy and girls home. Luke frowned tightly. You two shouldn't get involved anymore. I'll contact your parents. No, uncle, I shook my head. This has nothing to do with my parents. It's something I want to do myself. He looked a bit surprised. How old are you two? We've already contacted the police and found some evidence, I said. The owner of Boy and Girl's Home is Hunter from the Hunter family. He has 27 regular customers. We can find a way to trouble those customers, but to completely finish this, the Hunter family needs to fall into chaos. The Parker family isn't enough. Jenny raised her eyes, her voice hoarse. We also need the Lincoln family. We gave them too much information. Luke was completely speechless. His expression kept changing. Uncle, I bowed deeply to Luke. I beg you, this is not only to get Riley out, but also for those innocent girls. The air was quiet for a few minutes. Young man, you can rest assured. After a while, Luke said gently, Uncle won't let Riley suffer in vain, and won't let your efforts go in vain either. The second monthly exam came quickly. After the exam, I had a very brief argument with Jenny. What you're doing is too dangerous, Jenny said, frowning tightly. It's not allowed. This was our plan long ago. I was organizing my backpack. Jenny, we're just one step away from the end, but you don't have to do it yourself. Jenny became emotional. The Hunter family has already fallen into chaos recently. We can find the stockpiling spot soon. No, I shook my head. I have to go there myself. I'm afraid something might go wrong. How can you be sure that Sam will take you there? Jenny said. Wendy, I admit you are smart. And you can see 3 steps ahead. But you can't guarantee that nothing will go wrong. Sam will definitely take me there, I said calmly. Not only me, but also Luna. What does Luna have to do with this? Jenny was taken aback, as if she realized something, and her expression changed. I said nothing more, just leaned against the wall tiredly and took a deep breath. Jenny didn't argue with me anymore, but instead, she worriedly warned me to be careful. The day the results were announced happened to be Sam's birthday. This time, my brother is still first place, but second place is no longer Sam, not even third place is him, second place is me, third place is Luna. There was a slight deviation from my expectations, but as long as my rank is higher than Sam, it doesn't matter. The long silent guardian suddenly spoke. Luna's energy has been greatly reduced. What did you do? I shook my head. I didn't do anything. I didn't even focus my thoughts on Luna. First time, she tried to get close to Simon, but unfortunately, it made Simon feel repulsed. While Simon and I grew closer, second time, she underestimated me, and her exam ranking was lower than mine. Third time, she thought I liked Neil, so she approached Neil. But I clearly knew that Neil didn't lack pretty girlfriends. He only lacked someone who would recognize him as an ally, and I didn't like Neil at all, so all her efforts were in vain. Fourth time, she targeted Philip's family, also had her involvement, but I used Kathy's family and Parker family to resolve it. Fifth time, she clung to Sam, thinking she had succeeded, but she didn't realize that these actions only made Sam more and more disgusted with her. Everything she did not only failed to disrupt my plan, but also went according to my will. I am getting better and better, while she is only getting worse and worse. Luna is like a daughter plant. Once relying on my body to harm my family, relying on Simon to ruin my brother's reputation, relying on Neil to ruin my brother's life, relying on Hunter to destroy my family, my friends, and my soul. But she herself is ultimately just a useless daughter plant. She treats us in the lower plane as playthings, but in reality, those people she relies on also treat her as a plaything. Luna, such a time traveler, without nutrients, will wither away gradually. If this continues, after some time, I will be able to retrieve her. Will there be such time travelers coming to our world again? Once the time traveler is retrieved, your world will be encrypted and protected, and such things will not happen again. So that's the case, I said softly, but darkness never seems to be lacking. That's human nature, the supervisor said. Even without travelers, tragedies will continue to happen. Yes, I didn't deny it, but said, but I won't let the Sammy tragedy happen again. The supervisor stopped talking, and I also picked up my backpack and found my brother. I won't be going back tonight, brother, I said with a smile. Sam is inviting me to his birthday party. My brother remained silent. Wendy, he called me. What have you been up to lately? I paused for a moment and said casually, nothing much. I just feel. My brother took a sip of his lips, pressed his chest, and for the first time showed a hint of concern on his handsome face. I'm a bit worried about you. What are you worried about? I shook his wrist. I'm just going to a birthday party. And I'll be back soon. My brother looked at me, his dark eyes were still as clear and bright as before, like the most beautiful star in an unpolluted sky. He said softly, "Can't you not go, Wendy?" My smile was stiff for a moment. He said, "Come home with me." My nose got stuffy, but I held back the tears, just lifting my eyes and smiling at him without any shadow. "I'll be back home tonight, brother." I turned to leave, but my brother reached out and grabbed my wrist. He seemed to have foreseen something, his fingers slightly trembling, his unease quite obvious. I lowered my head and pried open my brother's fingers one by one, whispering, "Brother, let's go back." "I'm sorry, brother." Sitting Sam next to, drinking that glass of fruit wine, I smiled at him slightly, and without showing it, glanced at Luna beside me, pretending not to know that the girl behind us was Susan. This birthday party, Sam didn't invite many people, to be precise. He only invited me and Luna from our class. The young men and women next to him were all his assistants. The Hunter family is currently going through a difficult time. Hunter won't tell these to Sam. But Sam can sense his father's displeasure, and thus actively hunts, claiming to be an orphan, inheriting a large fortune, good-looking and infatuated with himself. Luna, isn't there a more suitable choice than this? He originally only invited Luna alone, but who could have known I got second place? This extremely misogynistic, dark and twisted, Hunter family master. How could he tolerate a woman being on top of him? Hunter likes my appearance, I clearly know that. I am Harry's beloved sister, the annoying woman on his head, and also the father Hunter has expressed affection for, obedient and well-behaved, who admires him wholeheartedly. Wendy, what is Philip's family? A mere nothingness. The Hunter family is just a disposable existence, let alone the fact that I am merely Philip's stepdaughter, whether it was a momentary impulse or a long-planned scheme. In any case, on the day of the boy and girl's home trade, Sam brought me along as well. As for Susan, of course she eavesdropped on my conversation with Sam and followed me on her own, but it doesn't matter. Since Susan has come, I have informed Simon, and he should be arriving soon. I lowered my eyes, pretending to be asleep. Today is the day of the police operation. They have installed a tracker on me. As long as I am also a commodity, they can follow me and uncover an entire trafficking network. Dismantling boy and girl's home in one go, I spat out Sam's wine that was laced with a sedative. And I was sent to the storage point. There are many unconscious girls and handsome boys lying here, stored in several containers of different sizes. I took a look and saw that each container had different symbols, which probably indicated different paradises. Not long after, I heard someone stop in front of me. "Take these directly boy and girls home." As instructed, I didn't receive any notice from the boss. "Why are you asking so much? Just take them. These don't look like ordinary goods. They were temporarily transported from Candace. Will there be any problems?" They talked for a while longer, and eventually the worried person gave in. The container was loaded onto the vehicle, and I was transported again. It's not true that I'm not scared. I clearly know what's waiting for me next. I'll be sent into one of the 27 rooms, or maybe the Hunter's office on the top floor. Hunter noticed something. Boy and girl's home recently changed location. The police need time to collect evidence. They will first go to the storage point to rescue these girls. As for me, I opened my eyes and looked at Susan. She saw me and Luna being knocked out, and she was discovered by Sam before escaping the bar. Sam probably didn't expect Susan to follow him here, so he ended up bringing Susan along as well. After all, in his master's eyes, this timid girl would not dare to say anything after a few photos were taken. Susan looked at me, and I just pointed to my mouth and made a SHH gesture. Susan understood and nodded, then nervously glanced at Luna, who was still unconscious. I made gestures to Susan, mouthing, "Did you tell Simon?" Susan was stunned, then quickly nodded. "You pretend to be asleep later." "Sam," I pointed to Luna. "He will take me and Luna away first." Susan's expression became panicked. She grabbed my sleeve, started crying, and kept shaking her head. "If Simon follows you, he'll come to save you later." I touched her head. "Don't be afraid. She would definitely not get into trouble. Since that incident with Riley, Hunter would be extra careful about such accidents. The one family is not the Phillip family. You can't be so careless." Susan cried and hugged me. The car stopped, and I exchanged a glance with Susan. Both of us pretended to be unconscious. I was blindfolded and taken to boy and girl's home. then brought into a bathroom in a large room. I took off the blindfold and looked around the room's decoration. This is a musky rose-themed room. If I'm not mistaken, this is Kevin's room. It seems Sam hates me more, which is why he put me here in Kevin's room and sent Luna to Hunter. If Hunter is a beast who excels at manipulating people's hearts, then Kevin is an undoubted demon. He is the most brutal among the 27 guests, likes violence, and comes to boy and girls' home just to release his anger. Many girls have died because of him here. Kevin will definitely come tonight, because Kathy will officially ask him for a divorce tonight. This was something I had anticipated all along, including Sam bringing me here, which was also within my expectations. After all, although I seem close to Neil, such a perverse and soul-destroying thing, Sam loves to do the most. I sat quietly in the bathtub, wondering when he would come in. Click, the door opened. I watched Sam enter slowly, lighting a stick of incense, then coming to my front and looking down at me with a superior gaze. Wendy, his voice was gentle. Are you awake? I pretended to be weak and frightened. How did I end up here? Where is this? This is the place where you will live from now on, he said, adjusting his glasses slowly. Someone will come later to teach you what you need to do in the future. You, I said softly. I don't have a grudge against you. Why are you doing this to me? Why? Sam thought for a moment. Because you have an annoying brother. Because of this face, because your family is destined to be absorbed by the Hunter family. You appeared in my line of sight, that's all. Sam, I trembled. What did you light? Something that makes people happy. He shrugged, then leaned down to look at me. But it only makes men happy, not toys. Is that so? I smiled. Sam, you know, Kevin also likes men. Strong sedatives can make a person's limbs weak and lose all strength. But I didn't drink it. After saying that, before Sam could react, I took thee from the hair tie and directly inserted it into his neck. Sam immediately collapsed beside the bathtub, his eyes staring at me intensely. I didn't care much about it, looked at him, stood up, and gently opened the door, as expected, because problems have been happening in those clients' homes recently. And the Hunter family has also been frequently targeted. Hunter has decided to temporarily shut down boy and girl's home, to protect the client's privacy. There are no cameras installed here. There is not much protection on this floor. Only the hidden door leading downstairs is guarded. I searched room by room and finally found a room with a red rope tied to the door. I walked in. A red rope on the door means there's a guest. There are only 2 rooms with guests tonight. As soon as I entered the room, I was stunned. This is girls' home. Girls in girls' home are usually the youngest ones. A little girl was lying on the bed, wearing only a white bikini dress. She looked to be no more than 8 or 9 years old. Her limbs were tied, with many small bells hanging from the ropes. Her tender face was full of tears, and she was looking at me nervously. I untied the ropes for her and made a shh gesture. It's okay, I whispered. I'm here to save you. She obediently leaned on my shoulder. Are you Sunny's sister? I was stunned. I saw the words under the bed. She whispered. Sunny's sister said. That's the challenge guide. I was stunned, looking at the bed. This bed didn't look new, probably moved from the previous boy and girl's home. I thought for a moment and crawled under the bed, where I saw some words carved on the bedboard, even with some stick figures. Sunny's secret guide. Note, after passing the test, you can find your parents. Don't be afraid. 12 to 13 is meal time. The chopsticks delivered. Take out a key from behind the toilet lid. That's one I stole. It can open the window lock. Don't eat all the food. There's medicine in it. You can eat more eggs. Protein can speed up recovery. Leave some water. Try to keep it in your mouth. Mix it into the monster's tea. There's also medicine in the water, which can make them sleepy. Wet the incense. Don't let it burn. Those incense can make the monsters go into a violent mode. After the 14th day comes, the observation period is over. Try to crawl out the window, probably between 2 to 4 a.m. If you fail, come back. Children who come here, don't be afraid. If the monsters find you hiding under the bed, just pretend this is a nightmare. It will end. Keep going. There are many sisters who will wish you all the best. She looks weak, but she isn't afraid of the dark or ghosts. When we went to play escape rooms, she always led me out. Sunny, I closed my eyes and hugged the little girl, whispering, Sister will follow Sunny's strategy to get you out. Sunny, I will not let all your efforts go in vain. I promise you. I took the little girl and hid in the wardrobe. I still have many anesthetic needles on me, which Jenny prepared for me before I came. If someone comes in and opens the wardrobe, I can knock him out immediately, but I waited for a long time, and no one came. Just as I was thinking about going out to take a look, the sound of messy footsteps gradually came from outside the door. Boom, the door was opened. Wendy, Wendy, are you here? I heard Jenny's voice, and opened the wardrobe. She was standing with a group of police, looking very anxious. On the verge of tears, I gave her a relieved smile and said, I'm fine. After saying that, I patted the head of the little girl in my arms and said, we've passed the challenge, we're free now. When I was taken to the police station for a statement, I saw an ambulance on the side. You don't know, Jenny turned her gaze away in disgust. Sam was beaten up badly in a room where a strong aphrodisiac was used. The man who went in was really brutal. After he regained consciousness, he tried to cut someone's eyes with a lens, almost causing a death. Is that so? I coughed a couple of times. Those who insult others will eventually be insulted themselves. The Sam who led countless girls to hell should now experience what hell is like himself. This time it's a complete bust, a female officer said. We've gathered all the evidence. The girls have all been rescued. None of them will get away. Oh, by the way, does your school have a girl named Luna? A police officer asked me. When we found her, she was with Hunter. According to her conversation with Hunter, we suspect she was an accomplice. Luna was unconscious, so I followed the police arrangement and placed a recorder on her. Given her personality, she probably had a crush on Hunter and might have been quite satisfied with Sam's plan. It's obvious what she might have said. I didn't say anything else, wrapped myself in the blanket the police officer gave me, and went to the police station for a statement. Susan was also there. But her face looked very pale, and next to her was Simon, who was looking down. Susan saw me and her eyes lit up. She almost ran over, looking very emotional, as if about to cry. I just smiled and waved at her. Simon had followed him all the way here, Jenny explained. It was said that those people scared him a little, telling him to mind his own business, so he really left Susan behind. I lowered my eyes, thinking, that was really expected. I cooperated with the police for the statement. And all the information about the source was covered up by Parker family and Lincoln family. The girls who were rescued wanted to meet you. A police officer came to see me. Their parents were also very grateful to you. We met them, and that little girl came to give us some candy. Jenny looked at the candy in her hand. A long time later, she said, it's really great. I also quietly said, yes, that's really great. I just looked at the photos from the identification department, Jenny said. She also carved words under the bed. Yes, I said. She also drew pictures. So that's how it is. Jenny smiled, her eyes glistening with tears. That's really her style. The gentle and patient story sister. Those carefree happy times. Those girlhood memories of chasing swallows in the hall. Those poems that were never memorized. The soft and helpless voice of a girl. Jenny, why did you get 0 points on the classical poetry recitation? Well, there were only 6 points in total. I didn't feel like memorizing them. I'll help you memorize them together. Okay, the never getting high scores in Chinese and English, which once had some improvement because of someone, but she is now forever frozen on the winter lake, never to return. I could do it all over again. Save my mother and stepfather, save my brother and Lisa, and save all the girls at Boy and Girls Home, the people who were saved, like me, like the little girl, like Riley. Can still try to move forward and live a new life. But those who have lost their lives, those who have left, will never come back. The mountains are washed by the clear snow. The snow is wiped away, fresh and bright, like a beautiful woman washing her face and arranging her hair. This was the first poem taught by Sunny to Jenny. Awkward and obscure, mountains remain, Jenny unchanged. Only those melting sunny snows and beautiful girls, from now on, are left as reflections in memory. Jenny asked me, Wendy, will she be happy? Yes, I said. She led all of us through this crisis. That's good. She seemed to pull at her lips, but didn't smile. Wendy, I miss her a little. I looked out the window. Mom and stepdad arrived. My brother frowned, but still showed a worried expression, looking at me. But Jenny's father was also looking at her eagerly. Let's go, I said. There are still people waiting for us. Jenny's eyelashes were glistening with tears. Her voice almost choked. But besides me, there's no one else waiting for her. She wouldn't want you to keep waiting for her, I said softly. There was one more note under the bed. Jenny, didn't you see it? If you can leave, then take a big step forward. Step forward, and don't look back." At the end of this sentence, there was a small smiley face. I have returned to YH. Hunter's house was completely ruined, Hunter was imprisoned, and all his clients were caught in one fell swoop. The incident caused a nationwide sensation, sparking public outrage and leading to a strict investigation. After the investigation was cleared up, Luna was released, Sam was detained. He was already 16 years old and could be held criminally responsible. What was left for him was a life of remorse in prison. Luna returned to school, but what awaited her was not a peaceful ending. Her conversation with Hunter was accidentally released. Luna not only expressed joy at my arrest, but also actively seduced Hunter, promising Hunter that she would bring him more gifts in the future. A girl in her teens could be so cruel. For a moment, everyone's eyes toward her changed, and she was constantly talked about wherever she went. She truly faced social death. Soon after, Luna dropped out of school. Susan never spoke to Simon again. The incident of him abandoning her out of fear spread throughout the school, and combined with his past behavior, now all the students in the class laugh at him, calling him a gossip, a coward, and someone who likes to spread rumors behind people's backs, and he doesn't even act like a man. Neil also never appeared at school again. His family had fallen. Kathy was planning to move abroad, although she didn't have the interest in completely destroying him, but now everyone knows what kind of father he has, a rapist and murderer who likes boys and girls. Not long after, he completely disappeared, but I heard Kathy say that he went looking for revenge, got reported, and was sent to jail. Who did he go looking for revenge on? I was a bit shocked. He thought it was all Hunter's family. Kathy snorted. But unfortunately Hunter and Sam were already in jail, so he went after the one who was involved with Hunter, Luna. I was even more shocked. Luna is dead, not dead, Kathy said, but he gathered a bunch of people to assault Luna, and said that she wasn't exactly a good person either, so it's just a case of getting what you deserve. For this ending, I only felt like laughing and crying at the same time. When Neil bullied my brother before, he also said my brother was a garbage who bullies women. Now when he went after Luna, he said again, she wasn't exactly a good person. Neil is really always putting himself on the right side. Luna's luck has completely vanished. Tomorrow I can arrest her and send her to the interstellar prison, the enforcer said solemnly. Okay. I looked up at the sky. It's finally over. I should move forward now. The next day, Luna's soul was arrested, and I saw her for the last time. She kept muttering things like, "You bunch of peasants, I am the one from the higher dimension, how dare you treat me like this," which made me unable to help but laugh. "Wendy," Luna stared at me fiercely, "all of this was your plan, wasn't it? You already knew who I was. You're a monster." I looked at her calmly. "Look at yourself now, Luna, you're the monster." She was about to say more, but was struck by a lightning bolt from the enforcer, letting out an extremely painful scream. "This is what you owe me." I didn't want to look at her anymore, so I turned my head. "I promised myself that you would feel the same pain as I did." "What kind of pain are you talking about?" Luna's words were cut off abruptly. At this moment, I could feel my body suddenly becoming lighter, as if the overseer had also left along with Luna. "Hey," I finally couldn't hold back and called out to the overseer. "Thank you," whether it was out of duty or by accident. Its appearance gave me a chance to start over. "It was the chosen one who gave all his luck to you." The overseer's voice grew quieter, which is why I appeared. I was stunned. In an instant, time reversed and the world turned upside down. After being invaded, the world, which had cycled through countless repetitions, faced this prophecy of collapse, and the chosen one was awakened, told by someone, "Her body will be completely taken over and then disappear. Have you thought it over yet? But if that's the case, you won't be protected." The boy remained silent for a few minutes. "I'll give her all my luck. Will she get another chance? Then the invader will relentlessly target you, but after 5 years, she will have another chance." "Okay," he said, "then give it to her." "Why? I made a promise to take good care of her." "That's not your promise. This time I reincarnate as Harry. I am Harry. Taking care of her is the promise I made to this world. But this will cost you everything." "Yes." He paused. "If she disappears completely, she will never have another chance. The world's fate has changed hands. The fate's chosen one who was supposed to have a peaceful and smooth life has lost his memory and no longer has the ability to protect himself. And now that I have the fate, I have a chance to start over 5 years later, whether it was the previous traveler or me this time. As long as we have the body of Wendy that has been blessed with fate, we will get whatever we wish for. It wasn't luck, sitting next to Jenny, easily convincing Kathy, meeting Riley and safely leaving from boy and girl's home, were all because I had gained the favor of the fate's chosen one. He gave me everything he had. That's why I had such a tragic fate the first time. That's how it is. That's how it is. My tears fell one by one, silently crying until I was out of breath. Brother, Harry. The fate's chosen one. I pushed open the door and left home, running downstairs. When I reached the first floor, I saw my brother coming up with 2 bags. Why are you going down? He seemed unable to see my expression clearly because of the light behind him, but his voice was calm and gentle. I bought a yellow-fleshed watermelon for you. I'll cut it for you when we get back. I didn't say anything. Step by step, I went down, then reached out and hugged him, just like the time I just woke up. Wendy, he seemed to finally realize I was crying, put down the bags and asked, "What's wrong, brother?" My tears soaked his collar. I tightly grasped his sleeve. "I will take care of you, okay?" He touched my hair. "I will take care of you too. I will protect you well. You just need to protect yourself," he said. "Don't be like last time." No, I was stubborn. "I will protect you." Time seemed to have stopped for a long time. He seemed to smile. "You have done a good job, Wendy. Let's go back and eat watermelon." After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.